morning children. Today we are going to learn chapter 6, classification of plants. Now we are well aware that we are living in a world where variety of living organisms are there. Like a small microorganism like virus to giant trees and animals. So that is the variety that we see in the living organisms. What do we call that variety that we see in the living organisms? That is known as biodiversity. In order to study each particular category, suppose we want to study about us, human beings. Can we take individual human beings to study? Can you imagine the number of population? Can we study about each individual? Now we are talking not only about we human beings, that is just like one small drop in the big ocean. There are variety of living organisms. So how to study them? So in order to study them, they have grouped and classified depending upon certain criteria, maybe some similarities or maybe some differences. Okay. And we are well aware that we all have learnt last year the 5 kingdom classification given to us by whom? Robert Whittaker. On what basis did he classify the living organism? First he considered all the living organisms. Then he grouped them under 2 categories. What was the criteria that he considered? He took the criteria, the structure of the cell. That is, whether the cell of the organism is made up of prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Now what do you mean by prokaryotic? Their cell is just one membrane and cytoplasm. There is no specific cell organelles. Whereas eukaryotic, they have proper cell organelles like mitochondria, ribosomes, also specific nucleus. Each organelle is covered by a membrane. They are known as eukaryotic cell. So that was the first criteria Whittaker used. So he divided all the living organisms on the basis of whether they are made up of prokaryotic cell or eukaryotic cell. All the prokaryotic became under kingdom Monera. Now we consider all the eukaryotes. Now, what were the criteria to divide the eukaryotes? He took the criteria of the structure of the organisms, whether the organism is made up of single cell or multi-cell. If they are single cell, they are known as unicellular, and all the unicellular comes under kingdom Protista. Now consider all the multicellular. They are made up of more than one cell. All the multicellular further classified into 3 kingdoms. Now what was the criteria? He considered the mode of nutrition, that is whether they prepare their own food or they absorb the food or they intake the food. All that prepare their own food, as we know, known as kingdom Plantae, and all that absorb the food, they comes under kingdom Fungi, and all that intake the food, they come under kingdom Animalia. We belong to kingdom Animalia because we intake the food. Okay. There is one more differentiation between the kingdom Plantae, Fungi and Animalia. What is that? Kingdom Plantae and Fungi, their cell contains cell wall, whereas animal cell do not contain a cell wall. Okay. This is how Whittaker classified all the living organisms. He divided them into 5 groups, 5 kingdoms. Kingdom Monera, Protista, Plantae, Fungi, Animalia. I suppose you already know about the hierarchy of classification. First they are divided into kingdoms. Then they are divided into sub-kingdoms. Further into divisions, class, order, family, genus, species. We all have a binomial name. What is the name? Scientific name for all the human beings. How do they give the scientific name or the binomial name? They consider the genus and the species. Okay. So even if we take kingdom Plantae, they are further divided into sub-kingdoms, further into divisions, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay. Now, when we consider species, species contains only one type of plant. Like one species human beings contain only human beings, and but we all come under kingdom Animalia. From there they are divided. Finally we come to the species as human beings. Okay. Now when we speak about plants, what is the first thing that come to your mind? Plants prepare their own food. What helps them to prepare their own food? They have a cell organelle known as chloroplast in their cell structure. The chloroplast contain a pigment known as chlorophyll, which is green in color, that help the plants to prepare their own food. That is the main characteristics of plants. That is why they are known as autotrophs. Now, we are supposed to learn the classification of plants. These plants have been further divided into different subkingdoms, divisions, etc. Now, there are various scientists try to divide them under different criteria. Some of them you have already known. You have known depending upon the lifespan, on the structure, like shrubs, creepers, that is one classification. Or depending upon the lifespan, you have perennials, you have like that, okay. So there are different classification that is given. Now, in 1883, Eckler gave one particular classification, that is, he divided kingdom Plantae into two subkingdoms. And what was the criteria? Depending upon whether the plant bears flowers or do not bear flowers. So that was the first criteria that Eckler gave for kingdom Plantae. So kingdom Plantae are further divided into two subkingdoms, that is cryptogams and phanerogams, depending upon whether they bear flower or do not bear flower. As you know, flower further develop into fruit and seed, which is their reproductive structure. Okay. So all those plants which do not bear flower comes under cryptogam. All that do not bear flower comes under cryptogam. Now, what is the meaning of cryptogam? Crypto means hidden. Gams for the reproductive structure. So their reproductive structures are hidden, cannot be seen. That is why they are known as cryptogams. So kingdom Plantae is divided into two subkingdoms depending upon whether they bear flower or do not bear flower. All that bear flower comes under cryptogams, and all that do not bear flower comes under phanerogams. Okay. Now, all that is cryptogam, that is, they do not bear flower, they are further divided into three divisions, that is Thallophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. All that is in Thallophyta, they are mainly aquatic, that is, they can live either in fresh water or in saline water. Their structure is very fine, thread-like structure. I want to show you. Their structure is very fine. This is a cluster of them, you can see. This is what is known as Spirogyra, one of the example. Okay, this is a cluster. We have to separate a single one from there. It is just like a fine thread, finer than a hair. Okay, that small it is. Their example, that is Spirogyra. So their structure is fine fiber, thread-like structure. They do not have separate root, stem, leaf, nothing. They just fine structure. Okay. This group is mainly called as algae. But they are green in color. They prepare their own food. Okay. Now, some type of fungi like yeast and mold are also included in this category. So this is all about Thallophyta. They are aquatic, found in fresh water as well as in marine water. They have fine fiber or thread-like structure, cannot be separated into root, stem and leaf, but they are autotrophic. Examples are Spirogyra, and you also have Chara. I also have the image of Spirogyra. I don't know whether it is clear to you. This is Spirogyra, and you also have Chara next to it. We are supposed to prepare a slide of Spirogyra and observe it under the microscope. Then when you come back to school, we can see it. Okay. Now next is Bryophyta. They are little more advanced than the Thallophyta. Bryophyta is also known as amphibians of kingdom plantae. You know why they are called amphibians? Amphibians are they can live in water as well as on land. Now they are called as amphibians because they grow in moist soil and they need water for reproduction. They grow in moist soil and they need water for reproduction. That is why they are called as they are called as amphibians. Okay. Now their structure is flat ribbon-like structure. Flat ribbon-like structure. They appear to be having leaf and root, but they do not have. Their plant body also cannot be separated into root, stem and leaf. They have false leaf, like leaf-like structure, which is known as thalloids, and root-like structure, which is known as rhizoids. Now, why do they need it? They need it because they want to anchor it on the host. Okay, I have you must have seen in rainy season on the bricks and walls and all, you find these things comes up like green. Okay, this is called as moss, that is funaria. This is moss funaria. If you look at them, you can see, if you look at them, they have like leaf-like structure. They are not leaf, they are known as thalloids. Okay. When you take them out, you can see root-like structure, but they are not root. They are rhizoids. Why do they need it? To hold on to this brick, to hold on to the host. Okay. So that is all about Bryophyta. Now, Bryophyta have reproduction through the formation of spore. They do not have separate conducting tissue for water and food in their plant body, but they have reproduction through the formation of spore. Okay, we can see the image of moss or the funaria. You also have the image of Mertensia. You can see the structure that comes up on the funaria. Observe it near the walls. You will see them. Okay, so please look at it. Now, the next group is Pteridophyta. Pteridophyta is little more advanced than Bryophyta. Pteridophyta is well developed into root, stem and leaf. They have separate conducting tissue for water and food in their plant body. They are much advanced. Okay, you have the example of fern. I am sure all of you must have seen fern. This type of plants all of you have seen. These are called ferns. If you look at it, they have a separate stem, they have root and they have leaves also. Okay. Now, there is something behind this fern. Look at this behind. Can you see these brown spots on this leaf? These are called as sporangia, which contain fine powder-like structure which is known as spore, which is one of their reproductive structure. Now these ferns reproduce either by asexually and sexually. Asexually by spore formation and sexually by gamete formation. The Pteridophyta, they have proper developed body into root, stem and leaf, but they do not bear flower. That is why they come under cryptogams. Okay. They have separate conducting tissues for food and water. They reproduce asexually and sexually. Sexually by spore formation, as I showed you what is spore, and sexually by, these are spore. Okay. And sexually by gamete formation. So this is all about subkingdom cryptogams. They are further divided into 3 subdivisions, which are the Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. Here the structure is fine thread-like structure, mainly in water. They are mainly in water. Thread-like structure, don't have separate root, stem or anything. Little more advanced, they are known as amphibians. They have false leaf, false root, that is thalloids and rhizoids. They reproduce asexually by spore formation. More advanced or more developed, they have separate root, stem and leaf, conducting tissues, asexually and sexual reproductions by gametes and spore formation. What is cryptogams? Their reproductive organs are hidden. Okay, that is why they are known as cryptogams. Now we come to the next group. Okay, the example, before I go, I want to show you the example of, okay, I already shown you. You already know the structure of it, so I think that is okay, of the fern. If you happen to see it in your neighborhood, please look at it. Okay, now we go to the next subkingdom, that is phanerogams. Phanerogams are all those plants which gives or which bears flowers. Now, flower further develop into fruit and seed. In some cases, the flower directly develop into seed. They do not have a fruit structure. Depending upon whether the seed is covered with fruit or not covered, they are further divided into two divisions, that is known as gymnosperm and angiosperm. Gymnosperm are those whose seeds are covered. Gymnosperms are those whose seeds are not covered. Their seeds are naked. What is the meaning of gymnosperm? Gymno means naked. So sperms are their reproductive organ. That is the seed part of it. Okay. So gymnosperm means the seed is not covered. These trees are evergreen. They are perennial. They last for a long time. They do not have branches. They are mainly woody. You always have seen Christmas tree. Have you seen the structure of their leaf? Towards the end, they are like pin-like structure, like conifer. Towards the end, it is like pointed. Okay. Such we have examples of Christmas tree, also cycas, pines. These are all evergreen, and their seeds do not have separate flesh. Okay. The seeds are naked. You must have seen cycas. I've seen it mainly in most of the. This is the cycas plant. Okay. And the seeds, as you see, this is how the seeds form in cycas plant. These seeds do not have flesh. They are just naked seed. That's why they are called as gymnosperm. Okay. Then all that plants whose seeds are covered by fruit are called as angiosperm. If the seeds are covered by flesh, they are known as angiosperm. Angio means covered. The seeds are covered. That's why they are called as angiosperm. Now, these are further divided into two categories, like monocots and dicots. Now, what is that monocots and dicots? You have seen different types of dal at home, isn't it? Moong dal, masoor dal, and gram dal. Now, from where do we get that gram dal? You get from the seed gram. Okay. Now, when you open that gram, you soak it little while in water or you roast it. And when you open, you get it into two equal halves. Like when you take moong, soak it for some time, it separates into two equal halves. Isn't it? They are, that the seed is divided into two equal parts. They are known as dicot. Each part is known as cotyledon. So you get it as two cotyledon. The two parts. You take a wheat gram, one wheat grain you take, okay. You try to separate. Will you get it into two equal parts? You will not. Take one banana. Try to make it into two equal halves. You cannot. Like that, how we get the gram. So they are called as monocot. Mean their seed has only one cotyledon, one part of it. You cannot separate into two. Where you can separate into two, they are called as dicots. Okay. For the angiosperm, where the seeds are covered, means they have flesh around it. They are further divided into two categories, that is monocots and dicots, depending upon whether the seed can be divided into two equal halves or no. Now, coming to monocots and dicots, you have to learn the differentiation of monocots and dicots depending upon their seed, their flower, their leaf, their stem and their root. Okay. How is the root of monocots and dicots. How are the roots of or the seeds of monocots and dicots? How are the leaves of monocots and dicots? Okay. Now look at the seed. First is seed. As we said, in seed, the monocots have only one cotyledon. Monocots have only one cotyledon, whereas dicots have two cotyledons. Okay. Now look at the root. In monocot, the root is fibrous, whereas in dicot, the root is taproot system. You know what is taproot system? There is one main root and from there branches are there. These are known as taproot system, whereas this is the fibrous root. You can see grass and everything have fibrous roots. That is, monocots have fibrous roots, whereas dicots have tap roots. Okay. The next is the stem. In dicot, the stem is hard, very hard, whereas in monocot, the stem is either hollow like bamboo or falls like banana or the disc like what we see in onion. Look at the leaf. In monocot, the leaves have parallel venation. You look at the leaf of banana, you can see this structure like parallel lines. Okay, they are called as parallel. You can just put your finger and you can cut it like that. Try for that for this dicot. You must have put people leaf in the water, take it out for preparing cards. Have you seen the veins of that leaf? It's all together, entangled type. Okay, you cannot have a parallel venation. So the monocots have a parallel venation, whereas a dicot have a reticulate venation. This is known as reticulate venation. Look at the flowers of monocots and dicots. The flowers of monocots are known as trimerous. That means they are either of 3 petals or multiples of 3. That is 6, 9, etc. Whereas the flowers of dicots are known as tetramerous or pentamerous. Tetramerous means 4 or multiples of 4 like this, or pentamerous, that is 5 or multiples of 5. These are the differentiation of monocots and dicots, and you should learn the differentiation on the basis of seed, leaf, stem, root and flower. In monocot, the only one cotyledon seed, whereas in dicot, 2 cotyledons. In monocots, roots are fibrous. Dicots, they are taproot system. In monocot, stem is either hollow or false or disc-like, whereas in dicot, it is very hard. In monocot, the leaf has parallel venation. In dicot, the leaf has reticulate venation. In monocot, the flowers are trimerous, 3 or multiples of 3, whereas in dicot they are tetramerous or pentamerous. That is, they are either 4 or multiples of 4, 5 or multiples of 5. This is the entire chapter, that is classification of plants. Let us see what we had learned today. Classification of plants. Plants have divided into 2 sub-kingdoms depending upon whether they bear flowers or do not bear flowers. All that do not bear flower comes under cryptogams. They are further divided into 3 subdivisions depending upon their structure: Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. And as you go from one to the other, they are little more developed. Their body is little more developed. Thallophyta, thread, fine fiber-like structure, mainly in water. Come to Bryophyta, they are amphibians, water as well as land. They reproduce by spore formation, but they have leaf-like, root-like structure, but they are not root and leaf. Pteridophyta, well-developed body. They have root, stem and leaf, but no flowers, separate conducting tissues, and they have both type of reproduction, asexual and sexual. All that bear flower comes under phanerogams. They are further divided into gymnosperm and angiosperm, depending upon whether their reproductive structure is naked or hidden. If the seeds are naked, they are known as gymnosperm. If the seeds have a covering out, then they are known as angiosperm. Now angiosperm, depending upon the seed, have monocots, monocotyledon or dicotyledon. They are divided into monocots and dicots. Now to learn the differentiation of monocots and dicots depending upon all 5 parts of it. Okay, this is the entire 6th chapter.